There he is.
Hi, friend.
How you doing, brother?
So let me turn down my music in my chat here.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you good.
Cool. So everybody in the chat, this is Vulnerable Lolly. He does TBI awareness, and actually on my TBI journey, before I started going live here, he's somebody who kind of helped me feel comfortable to be myself. I know I've kind of said this to you, but kind of helped me find my way back to I won't say normal, but my new normal after my TBI. You know, a lot of times it's hard to find a sense of normalcy after you suffer a TBI, and it's hard to find people who. It's hard to find not people who, but it's a way of feeling heard, if you will. And this is a creator on here who your videos actually did that for me. It kind of, you were a voice that I found really gave me um, a sense of being you know heard and seen. So
It's my honor and my pleasure to have been able to do that. Like, honestly, for real.
And so I don't know if you want to kind of let the people know who you are and what you do on here real quick before we start anything.
Well, I'll gladly take those reins for just a second.
Yeah.
Everybody, my name is Lolly. On here, I go by Vulnerably Lolly because that's just kind of who I am and how I've always been. Is just a vulnerable guy, and that's rare in this world to be a vulnerable guy. And so, I've been a motivational speaker for a long time, and I'm a professional spoken word poet. And so my life kind of led me down a path of self-awareness. I have a lot of social emotional learning education, and I was teaching bullying prevention. And then life happened, and I had 4 traumatic brain injuries in 16 months. So it's been a journey for me. I'm 8 years into this, and it was about 5 years when I refound my voice, my friend. That, I heard you say that, before you started going live, you found me. And I very much heard that sequence of events. And I'm grateful to have been an inspiration in any way, right? Or a comfort in any way to be able to, like you said, we feel very alone.
Yeah.
We feel very isolated. This is a very unique experience.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
It's something that if you haven't kind of been through it, it's hard to put into words for other people who haven't been through the experience, and it's difficult to kind of if you haven't been through it, it's hard to even put yourself in the mindset to go through it if you haven't.
Yeah, well, because, as you know, we deal with a lot of what society would deem as illogical and irrational.
Right.
The things that we are experiencing internally, the things that we are experiencing physically, mentally, psychologically, spiritually even, is not logical and rational to the world that we all know. And so that's a really hard thing to be able to coexist in, because it feels like I'm living in 2 different dimensions. So I just started sharing my experiences. I started sharing my perspective, and, my life has prepared me to be articulate. Whether I actually have a video I'm going to be releasing here soon, kind of explaining why I'm articulate. How did I not lose my articulation? And I believe that it's because I've lived a life of such trauma that I had to learn how to say the perfect word. If I didn't pick the perfect word that you couldn't misinterpret and then put it back on me, then that's how I was raised. And so, I think it was just so, I had such a reinforced neural pathways that's just who I am.
Yeah, and I can relate. I can kind of relate to that. You had to pick and choose your words for sure. I can relate to that 100%, if you will.
So I mean, and I don't know why, except for clearly my purpose is to be a voice. And I was already being a voice beforehand, so now I'm just really prepared to be a voice.
Yeah, and that's kind of something that I wanted to touch on with you. I think we were, not to say anything too presumptuous, but I had said, I thank you for kind of helping me kind of find my path, if you will. And you said you just do what you can, or what you can. You don't really feel, you appreciate the praise, but it's not, you don't know how to react to it. I get that feeling 100%. But I think
Yeah.
for people, I guess like you and me, we are, I guess, the bridge for people who may not be able to voice their words or
Very
how
much
they're
so.
feeling, to people who may not be able to understand what they're going through. I suppose if you might not be able to, you know, get across to people how they how you're feeling, what you're experiencing, so
Yes.
verbally, if that makes any sense. So I guess that's kind of how I see it. We have, our a duty to some degree to kind of help in a way. That's how I feel about it.
I have a personal belief system that says that wisdom, like riches, die with us.
Yes.
And just like riches, I believe we have a responsibility to share it.
Right.
It shouldn't be at the expense of somebody not being able to feed themselves or have a roof over their head. That's just my own personal belief system. So I've gained a lot of wisdom through this.
Yes.
I was grateful enough to be able to have, and fortunate enough to be able to have therapies that others don't have access to. And I was introduced to doctors and people who, I mean, not that I was ever really given, like, my doctors did a decent job.
Right.
I did a phenomenal job,
Yeah.
right? 'Cause I advocated for self.
Yeah.
And when they said, this is where you're at, I said, no way.
Yeah.
I'm finding more, because this is no life for me at all.
Right.
And I'm going to find hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and I'm going to find sensory deprivation salt floats, and vibroacoustic sound vibration beds, and acupuncture, and neurooptometry. And I'm going to find the things they didn't prescribe to me.
Yeah. And, and that's kind of something that, because it feels like, and this is kind of something me and you had talked about getting into, it feels like they kind of, I don't want to say they fall short to a degree, but it's almost like they don't, you're getting prescribed to someone, or put with someone who may or may not have been through a similar situation. So it's like they don't necessarily 100% understand what you're going through. So kind of something I had talked to you about is, do you think it would be beneficial for, treatment to be given by perhaps someone who has either experienced, maybe to lesser degrees, TBI, or has just more specialized treatment in TBI?
Absolutely agree with that.
Okay.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I stepped up to be a traumatic brain injury life coaching consultant. Because we need people like us. Like, we need people who truly understand the experience. It's also why I created my Patreon. Because what I didn't anticipate just by sharing my experiences was that people would be seeing themselves in me. That they would, hold on a second.
Oh, you're good.
That they would be if they didn't have the therapies, what I'm sharing that I was able to identify because of my therapies is helping other people identify things for themselves.
Right.
And then what I didn't anticipate was the communication tool part of my Patreon.
Yeah.
Or my videos. that people would start sharing my videos with their loved ones and even their doctors.
Right.
And what I also didn't anticipate was a lot of people showing up and saying, how are you giving me better information than any doctor I've ever talked to?
Right.
How are you giving me better information than any resource I've ever looked up? And I'm learning how to receive that.
Yeah, because it's